Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is D back again with MKD58 Media. I have another movie review for you guys, and this movie review is for the 2001 film Knockaround, guys. All right, now Knockaround, guys. This stars Vin Diesel, Barry Pepper, John Malkovich is in this, Dennis Hopper. Who else? Seth Green. Am I missing anybody? Also, Tom Noonan, who I was introduced to Tom Noonan through Manhunter, which is, a film that I'm a big fan of. And Tom Noonan plays the very creepy Tooth Fairy killer in that film. And in this movie, he plays a creepy, grimy, corrupt, dirty, small-town sheriff. So a pretty fitting role for him. And the performance was very, once I started watching the movie and saw his performance, I'm like, yeah, that's... I could tell that's the guy that played the Tooth Fairy killer. So yeah, so Tom Noonan is in this as well. But anyways, just watched this movie last night. First time I'd ever seen it. A very quick, hopefully short, kind of synopsis explanation of the plot. Barry Pepper plays the son of Dennis Hopper, who is a kind of big time, very respected, very infamous criminal underboss. And John Malkovich is his lieutenant. And Barry Pepper, his whole life has been kind of living with the name of his father kind of hanging over him. As a kid, he tried to commit an execution for John Malkovich, the lieutenant of his father, and he chickened out at the last minute. He couldn't pull the trigger. He couldn't bring himself to shoot the guy. And that's when he and John Malkovich kind of came to the realization that, you're probably not cut out for this type of criminal activity. So then you fast forward to his adult life, and Barry Pepper's character is trying job interview after job interview, trying to get a job just at a firm or corporation of some sort, just, a regular person type job. And what happens at all these interviews, the employer recognizes his name and realizes who his father is, and they don't want to mess with him. They don't want any part of Barry Pepper's character because they know who his father is. And so he's got this criminal underboss's name hanging over him. And so eventually what he does is he goes to his father and he's begging for a job of sorts. He's like, let me do something for you. I'm sure there's something I can help you out with. And turns out there is a little job that he could possibly be of assistance for. Typically, his father and his lieutenant and the father's lieutenant do not take the son serious at all when it comes to serious, actual putting in work for the criminal organization. They usually just have him be kind of an errand boy, have him run and get sandwiches, have him monitor little small stuff that doesn't really require any true kind of getting your hands dirty, so to speak, because they already kind of know and figured out that he's not really cut out for this type of stuff. But he's begging for a job, so they go ahead and give him the task of being responsible for a large money sum transportation gig. They want him to head an operation that basically just involves going and picking up $500,000 from Washington State and getting it back to New York to his father, Dennis Hopper. And it's very important that this money gets safely from one location to the next. So Barry Pepper's character, what he does, he has three other friends. Vin Diesel's character, Seth Green, and this other guy. I don't know the actor's name, but they're this other guy. And so the four of them are kind of the crew that are going to try to take care of this job. Seth Green, his character is a pilot, has a plane, so what he's supposed to do is go fly, pick up the bag, and then bring it back to New York. And Barry Pepper gets it, they transport it, boom, that's the job. But of course, Seth Green loses the bag in a very small town, and Barry Pepper, Vin Diesel, and the other guy go to the small town to try to figure out what they're going to do. They got to get this bag because the money is very important to you've come to learn, very important to Barry Pepper's father's life and John Malkovich's life, for that matter. It's important. It's an important sum of money. And Tom Noonan is a corrupt sheriff who, through lots of hijinks and shenanigans, I won't go into details, but through things happening, Tom Noonan, this corrupt sheriff, ends up getting the money, and he wants to keep it for himself, and he's essentially the villain in this film, and things transpire from there. I'll stop the plot explanation right there. My thoughts on this film. This film is nothing really exceptional about this. You can tell there's moments where it feels like it wants to be a comedy, and there's moments where it feels like it's trying to be a serious mobster film, and it ends up not doing well at either. The movie isn't funny, and it's also not like a very good mobster film, especially compared to, some of the well-known good to great mobster films, and there's a lot of them out there. But it is interesting. With all that being said, it still is interesting, at least for a first-time viewer such as myself. I was engaged, and it's not a very long movie at all. If I remember correctly, it's for sure under 2 hours, if I remember correctly. So it's not a long movie at all. It's a quick watch. I watched it, during a late afternoon. I actually when I first started it, I wasn't even sure if I was going to commit to watching the whole thing, and I just kind of ended up laying there and watching the whole thing. So it's a quick watch, and it does have interesting moments. I think Vin Diesel's character, if you're so used to all of the 10, 11 Fast and Furious movies that they've done, you kind of forget that Vin Diesel started out with kind of these smaller type roles, this film, and then he did Boiler Room, and he also, one of his very first films he ever did was this film called Strays, which was this really kind of blatantly independent film and everything like that. So you kind of forget Vin Diesel is like an actor. He does do kind of smaller roles, or started out doing kind of smaller, more character-like roles, as opposed to just these big bombastic one-liner having action vehicles, you know what I mean? So I did appreciate Vin Diesel's performance in this film. Barry Pepper and Dennis Hopper, I think, was a very good father-son casting, just from a visual perspective. This Barry Pepper, I most recently saw Barry Pepper in Crawl, and he's obviously much older, 19 years older than he was in Knockaround Guys. And then I watched Knockaround Guys, and I'm like, man, he looked young, and he really does look like he could have been Dennis Hopper's son. Just like from a visual perspective, he really did look like he could have been Dennis Hopper's son. So it's actually one of the better father-son castings that I've seen in a film. So that's kind of a small thing, but it is a positive to the film. And just overall, the story there's some intrigue there. It is interesting. Anytime, there's a mission, a criminal mission that's going down, and it goes AWire, and then you got to improvise and do, like, that kind of thing can always be fun, even if you've seen similar scenarios over and over again. It's like bank robberies in movies. You've seen countless bank robberies in movies, but no matter how many times you've seen them, they continue to be interesting. You don't really get bored of them. You've seen Point Break, but then you watch Hell or High Water, and then you watch The Town, you watch Heat. All of those films, you're still intrigued by them, even though, it's bank robbery. It doesn't get boring. My point being is, this film doesn't bring anything really new to the table, but some of the ideas it plays around with continue to be entertaining enough for you to watch the whole movie. But the negatives about this movie, like I said, it's not an exceptional, I wouldn't even say it's a good mobster film, and it's not really funny at all. And then you have kind of some big heavy acting talent like Dennis Hopper and John Malkovich, and they don't really stand out as far as their performances. They don't do anything bad in it, but specifically John Malkovich, he's in the film, and in the film heavily, but he doesn't actually bring anything to the role other than just his face is on screen and his name is on the marquee. But in terms of what he actually does, there's nothing special about it. Same thing with Dennis Hopper. So that's kind of, that's a thing. So, but my score for this film, I'm going to actually go 6 out of 10 for this film. I might and even with that score, that I might be seeing it through kind of rose colored lenses, just because I just watched the film and it was my first time seeing it. So it's not like, so it still was kind of new to me. And to be honest with you, before yesterday, I hadn't watched a movie in 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks. Like, honestly, like I hadn't watched a movie beginning to end in 2 weeks, which is why there hasn't been a movie review uploaded in a while, because things have just been happening and I just haven't gotten the opportunity. And so a lot of times, you know, I just wasn't getting the chance to sit down and really dig into a film and watch it. So that might be the scenario with that. But with that being said, I've told you my biases and why I might be biased about certain things. 6 out of 10 for Knockaround, guys. It's nothing special, but it is interesting. And I think that's a doable combination. That's not a contradiction. It's nothing special, but it is interesting. So if you've never seen it before and you are into the kind of mobster criminal genre, you know, criminal jobs going awire and things going bad, things going wrong, and that type of thing, you will be able to get a little bit of kind of entertainment out of this movie. But in terms of the pantheon of great entertaining mobster films, this is nowhere in the league of, you know, Goodfellas, The Departed, Casino, you know, anything you want to talk about, New Jack City, just whatever. It's not in the league of any of those films, but it is entertaining. All right, so 6 out of 10 for Knockaround, guys. Check it out or don't check it out, maybe. You know what I mean? If you don't watch it, you're not necessarily missing out on too much, if I'm gonna be honest about it. All right, so that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Despite this kind of hiatus that I took from movie reviews, there are definitely more reviews and videos in general on the way. All right, you guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next go round.